bringing the latest technology to your home. The Swipe Report on Sky News is sponsored by Curry's PC World and Canary.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up on this week's show.
How do you feel behind the wheel? We've got the tech that measures road rage. Keep calm and carry on. I play a game that responds to my emotions. And things get scary in our games review.
Welcome to Swipe. We're going to focus on emotions this week, kicking off on the road. You see, driving can be a stressful experience at times. We all know that. But now there's a way to measure your road rage while you're still in the car to try and help you stay cool. Alex has been trying it out.
Different things set us off in the driving seat, whether it's buses and cyclists.
Oh, they let me through. We like that. Thank you very much.
Or weaving through traffic. Now, researchers are measuring how these triggers impact our emotions.
What are you looking for?
So we're measuring your facial expressions through the camera. We're also measuring your sort of levels of excitement or stress.
How are you doing that?
Through your heart rate,
Okay.
which is that device clipped to your ear, but also through something called galvanic skin response,
Okay.
which is the sensor strapped to your finger, which, to put it very simply, can measure how stressed you are through how much your sweat pores open or close.
This is the world's first driving emotion test, devised to help drivers spot the causes of road rage and respond calmly to irritations.
Sour sweets. Please start feeding the driver sour sweets after the beep.
So I'm just going to hand you a sour sweet.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
The test is designed to see if you can keep your cool.
Okay, fine.
Heating. Please turn on the car's heating after the beep.
Is that hot?
It's hot.
Controversially, their data suggests women are on average 12% angrier than men. But questions about the test's accuracy have left some less than convinced.
I think the reality is as soon as you put a thing on your finger to start measuring your heart rate, you're not going to be reacting the way you normally would. Your heart's going to start racing. There are cameras on you. You're going to be thinking about the way you're looking. So I think it is a bit of a gimmick.
It's the latest move by motoring manufacturers to try and measure our vital signs to optimise the drive. Back at base, and my results are in.
How did I do?
You did show some sort of emotional response, some stress or physiological arousal, it's called. We can see, so you started driving at about 10 minutes in. This, I believe, is around the time you were trying to pull out and weren't getting any way. And roughly around the time, I would say this is probably the ambulance. So it did produce like a sudden stress in you.
So the real question after all this is, would you now get in the car with me again?
Absolutely.
So is this a safety innovation or the evolution of the backseat driver? Either way, while we're watching the road, we might have to get used to cars watching us. Alex Morgan, Sky News.
Stay with us. Still to come, I'll be meeting the startup trying to create a new generation of video games controlled by our emotions. That's coming right up after a roundup of this week's tech news.
Twitter is closing Vine, the 6-second video sharing app it bought 4 years ago. The announcement came on the same day the company said it would be cutting more than 300 jobs globally. The social networking site has been losing money with competition from the likes of Snapchat and Instagram. Game has faced a backlash after charging customers to try PlayStation VR in store. People have criticised the retailer for making gamers pay £5 for a 10-minute test session with the headset. The company defended the move, saying it gave customers a chance to get a feel for VR before they commit to buy. Sweden has banned cameras on drones. The new ruling categorises them as surveillance devices, meaning users need a special permit. Critics say it's a huge blow to the industry and claim it could put 5,000 jobs at risk. Nintendo has issued a profit warning. The Japanese games maker says sales fell by 1/3 this year despite the success of Pokemon Go. It says poor sales of the Wii U are partly to blame. And it's not just Nintendo that's having a tough time. Apple's iPhone sales have fallen for a 3rd straight quarter. That's despite the drama surrounding its rival Samsung's exploding Galaxy Note 7s. Gamers beware, you're in for a scare. We put the fear factor in our games review.
We've seen a lot of changes in gaming over the years, not least the effects of virtual reality and ever more powerful consoles. But according to one British startup, there's a whole new generation of video games on the way, ones that are controlled by our emotions, rewarding players who can stay calm under pressure. I've been to have a go at emotionally responsive gaming.
Champions of the Shenga is a new kind of emotionally responsive game, which basically responds to your real life emotions and makes them part of the game. So that just clips onto your earlobe. There we go, perfect.
Yep.
And that just clips onto your clothing somewhere.
Just anywhere?
Anywhere, yeah.
Cool.
And what that's doing is that's picking up a really high resolution reading from your heart rate, and it's turning it into something called heart rate variability. So basically it's a really accurate measure of how stressed or anxious or in control you are. So what this game does is basically reward you for regularly being able to get into that state of control. So your opponent will be getting a series of spells and creatures. So he's going to chuck a fireball at you in this first round.
And you want me to stay calm throughout this?
you have to in a moment.
So the more calm I am,
Yeah.
the more weapons I get to use.
Exactly. So you're summoning your inner strength and your inner power, and that translates into more powers within the game.
How do I summon inner strength?
So what the game does is that it basically takes you through the best and most immediate way of exerting control over your emotions, which is through diaphragmatic regulated breathing.
So I've just got to copy this guy?
Copy this guy, yeah. So it's about 4 seconds in and a slight pause and then about 5 seconds out.
Wow, he is doing some deep breathing, isn't he? I've earned some weapons.
You earn the right to you earn the powers to use all of the weapons that you got offered. So that was a really good start.
Whoa, I just got hit by a fireball though.
So he attacks you first, and then because you earn so much strength, you're going to be able to cast pretty much all of these cards against your opponent.
Fireballed him back. I'm not even sure I understand the rules of the game, but
you're doing very well.
I'm
considering
doing well.
That. It gradually gets more complicated.
I do feel like this game is just teaching me to commit violence while remaining very calm.
To be at your calmest.
Is that a good thing, though?
Well, I mean, it's a kind of controlled, virtual violence.
So have you made it to help people to chill out and calm down, or have you made it as entertainment?
We've made it as both, really. We've made it as something which people find really enjoyable, which adds another element to gameplay. And also, it as a kind of ancillary benefit, it means that people get much better at getting calm and focused.
Are there other areas of life that you could find yourself suddenly much better at handling if you master emotions by using a game like this?
Whether it's preparing for a big event, a talk or an exam, or whether it's dealing with stress and anxiety every day, these kind of skills are really relevant to thriving in everyday life.
But I could just sit down and breathe deeply, couldn't I, without a game?
It's a motivation to get good at it for a much wider audience.
We're back to the breathing man now. You're going to join me this time?
Definitely.
Okay, here we go. With Halloween just around the corner, we've thrown a fright into this week's games review. Watch out. Here's Alysia.
Ready to rock and roll.
All right, let's do this. Oh, God!
So it's Halloween, and you can either celebrate it by lighting a nice glowy candle in a pumpkin, sitting back with a spiced latte and watching reruns of Nightmare Before Christmas, or you can meet your friend in a virtual world and scare the living daylights out of them.
I'm hearing lockers.
Hide and Shriek is going to let you do that. It's a game where you kind of go into this school and your job is to terrify your opponent, who is also in the school with you. The catch is that you're both invisible. So as you're wandering through this school environment, you've got to basically lay all these traps for the other person. And sometimes you'll see glimpses of them because you might see a locker door opening by itself down the corridor, but that's actually the other person playing, opening the locker door, looking for some way to scare you. It's a really cool idea of a kind of two-person multiplayer where we're seeing a kind of different way, I guess, of doing multiplayer to what we've seen in other Steam games.
Okay, everything is really dark now.
Some of the scares include having skeletons jump out of lockers, or things kind of come up in the screen like really crazy, scary faces. Or sometimes it's as simple as you open a desk and a load of bats fly out. There's different scares of different levels, and the more you scare your opponents, the higher your score.
Oh, I got nailed.
Personally, I'm probably going to sit back with my pumpkin latte. I am absolutely terrible with jump scares. Nothing says Christmas more than standing on the coffee table, Poundland Santa hat swinging wildly as you copy what looks like the silhouetted woman from the iPod adverts as she twerks to Justin Bieber. Nothing. Not even Christmas turkey. So it's kind of good then that we've got Just Dance 2017 coming out. It's going to give you a whole host of new dance moves, new songs, and new things to kind of dance to as one of the best party games that there is. Are you happy now? In the new one, we've got 40 different songs. You can play alone or with friends, and the basic premise of the game is that there'll be 1 or 2 or sometimes even 3 or 4 figures on the screen, and they'll be dancing to a pre-choreographed routine. When you think of Final Fantasy, you're probably more likely to think of big sweeping tales of tragedy and adventure, rather than jokes about body odour, but the latter is what you're going to find in World of Final Fantasy.
Do you remember it at all? This land we call Grimoire? The vast fields, the icy ravines? But now, a sinister wind rises.
It's a cool little spin-off to the main game, where this time you're controlling a brother and sister as they adventure through this world called Grimoire. It's not the same world that you'll find in Final Fantasy games, but it's populated with some of the most popular characters from Final Fantasy, like Cloud and Lightning. But rather than Cloud and Lightning being their kind of somber selves that you'll see in the main game, here they're kind of like chibi characters, so they're very cartoonish, and they don't take themselves quite as seriously. Your job is to try and kind of venture through this world and try and regain the memories of this brother and sister, help them to remember who they were. There's something quite fun about seeing these kind of serious characters like Cloud and Lightning transported into a cartoonish world. And there is a lot more depth than you'd expect at first. There's this kind of mechanic quite similar to Pokemon where you can capture creatures from Final Fantasy and use them to battle alongside you, which is quite a nifty touch. All in all, it's a fun little game that I definitely recommend for fans of the series.
Well, that's it for this week. Don't forget, you can watch any of our Swipe episodes on our YouTube playlist. Just type in Sky News Swipe. And if you like staying up to date with all the latest tech news, then have a look at the Sky News website in our technology section. We'll be back next week. Hope you can join us then. Bye-bye.
Bringing the latest technology to your home. The Swipe Report on Sky News is sponsored by Curry's PC World and Canary.